Mrs. Boynton,
Here.
Mr. Akins,
Here.
Mrs. Turner Birch,
Present.
Mr. Whitford,
Here.
Mrs. Macklin.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we're so glad to see everyone out tonight. And we'll move along to our agenda is item number 2.01 is acknowledgement of our goals. They are listed on our agenda, and at your leisure, please feel free to read them. Item number 3 is awards, presentations, and communications. 3.01 is the recognition of our outstanding employee.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. One of the things we're going to try to continue to do is spend a little bit of time to recognize some of our outstanding employees at each of our board meetings as well. We talked a lot about everything that's happening in the movement that's necessary, but we are not able to do that without all of our employees. So we wanted to take this time tonight to recognize Adam. Candace. And so I'll ask Kat to talk a little bit about you, but I would just tell you that you had some small shoes to fill, per se, with Traylene, being at the high school and being in the district for very long, but Ms. Lewis has raved about the work that you've done and your commitment and dedication to our staff and students. So I felt that it was necessary as a new employee coming in and doing the work that you've done. It's your small token of appreciation.
Thank you. So this, it's actually my honor to honor Adam here because, you know, I met Adam, he was interviewing for the head custodian at Glendale. This was earlier in the spring. And I knew instantaneously that he was someone we wanted to hire. You know, he has shown, has proven through his work that that confidence was well justified. He is a hard worker. He is very conscientious, highly ethical, a great leader. I'll be honest, you know, I see Adam going far in this organization. And so when, you know, I remember when Traylene announced her retirement, I instantly thought of Adam, but you know, I talked to him about building's a beast. It's a big, ugly beast. And he took on the challenge, and it continues to be a daily challenge, but he has met it every single day.
Thank you.
Can I just say something real quick?
You sure can, and here you go.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. No, this means a lot to me, so I just wanted to thank everybody here and thank you, Tad, for that. But it couldn't be possible to do what I do without everybody's support and just everybody kind of guiding me along the way. Because, like Tad said, it is a beast and it's a lot of work, but I love it. And thank you again for the opportunity to be able to be here and be a part of the family. It means a lot to me. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Adam, for taking on the challenge, and congratulations to you.
Thank you for coming in and quickly becoming a Bearcat.
Just say something.
I just want to thank you. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry. I know what it's like over there. I was over there for 27 years, and I know you got your hands full, but if you just hang in there and do what you need to do, it'll be fine.
Right.
Congratulations. This is a great part of the agenda, a great thing to do, but
congratulations, thank you.
All right. Item number 3.02, we are going to hear some great presentations, and we will be starting with Mr. Huff from Columbus, and then Ms. Karen Taylor from Central. You are on.
All right. Thank you, thank you. First off, I want to say good evening to the board, President Boynton, Dr. Johnson. Just want to introduce myself. My name is Jermaine Huff. Here with me, I have my Dean of Students, Ms. Carla Eberhardt, and my counselor, Ms. Kim Young McCanns. All right. When I look at this tagline, everybody knows the tagline, but it's one sentence that stands out to me: providing a safe learning environment, and also students are the focus of all our decisions. That's Columbus's foundation. Students are the focus of all our decisions. This is our district goals 1 plan. I'm sure you've seen this before, but this is our foundation for our building. What moves us. If we focus on our building goals, which is centered in ELA, math, and behavior, we will help push that graduation rate as well from our building perspective. What we teach 90-minute blocks. We have ELA, math, science, social studies. We also have our electives. The one elective I want to highlight now that was our new class, which is SEL Health. We want to make sure that our students are learning the right coping skills to deal with the day-to-day life, the day-to-day activities that they have in school. So SEL Health is a new class that we just instituted this year. How we teach. MTSS is our multi-system system of support. It is what we use when we have some students that are struggling, that may need extra assistance in learning. We meet them where they are with our MTSS. And also, we use Hattie's zones of effective strategies. I won't bore you with the numbers, but anything above a 0.4 is viewed as effective strategy. So anything above the green is an effective strategy. So what we here at Columbus have done, we have used our PD time to kind of hone in on the strategies that we need the most in our particular building to move our students. Our 1 plan goals. Once again, our 1 plan goal in ELA is to move 20% of our students from that high tier 3 to tier 2 and then tier 1. And then as listed in those bullet points are the strategies that we use to move our students. Also, they are all research-based strategies that we're using. Math, 20%, we want to move from tier 3 to tier 2 to tier 1. And those are these are the math strategies that we're using. But we want to highlight one strategy bullet, that bullet at the bottom. That new Envision curriculum is something that we as a district has adopted, and we as a building have tried our hardest to make sure we learn that curriculum and move our students through the new Envision curriculum that we are using. Okay, so we're talking about closing the gap. That's why we're here, closing the gap. We want to highlight two of the bullet points on the closing the gap, and on the ELA side and on the math side. The personalized path for each student. We want our students to take ownership of their academics. We encourage our teachers to have data talks with our students because we want our students to know where they're going and how to get there and the goals that need to be reached with those individualized pathways that iReady provides. Also, once again, that implementation of that new math curriculum Envision is our focus. So, with that, closing the gap, we got our new report card scores, and this was out of 5. I want to highlight that we got an overall score as a building of 3.5, but the most important one that I see is that progress opponent. Actually, it's 2. We got a 5 out of 5 on the progress opponent rating, which we are super proud of and super happy. Also, that gap closing, we talked about gap closing in the previous slide. We got a 4 out of 5 on that. So something's working here at Columbus. All right, I'm not.
Okay, so, hello. To piggyback a little bit, off of what Mr. Huff said, we looked at that progress component, which we received a 5 out of 5. And so if you look at the chart that's above on the screen, there are 5 ratings that signify what kind of evidence there was that there was growth at the school. All of the growth that Columbus Intermediate attained were in the top 3 subgroups. If you look at the green, that signifies that students met their growth. The light blue signifies that they exceeded their growth, and then the dark blue signifies that they exceeded their growth by a great magnitude. So we are extremely proud that we have all of our growth in the green, blue, and dark blue. So now we're going to take a little bit of a look at our current data. These are our iReady snapshots from the fall diagnostic that our students took in both reading and math. So if you look at the pyramid, at the top is tier 3, which Mr. Huff spoke to a little bit earlier. Tier 3 is where our students need the most intensive support. Tier 2, which is yellow, is where students are going to get that targeted support, where their deficits lie. And then tier 3, which is in green, is where students are on track and ready to learn the new content for their grade level. So if you notice, we do have a high amount of tier 3, but as we work through the year, we anticipate that that will change. So these are our results for 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. And then following along with our growth pattern, here you see the growth that was experienced by our Columbus students in our last school year, 22 and 23. So if you notice in our reading chart, our students started out at 56% in their tier 3 and then moved to 32%. Tier 2, 31 to 33. Tier 1, 13 to 35. So they experienced a significant amount of growth. And if you look at tier 2, you might notice that there was not a lot of change, but we account for that because students that were in tier 3 moved down to tier 2, and then students that were in tier 2 moved down to tier 1. And you'll see much of the same for our math. Our final Columbus 1 goal speaks to behavior, that we would like to decrease those unwanted behaviors by 10%, and we're seeking to do that by strengthening our tier behavioral supports and connecting with our SEL team to make sure that our teachers are equipped with restorative practices that students can use when they're feeling overwhelmed or when they are tempted to make bad decisions. Now, with that being said, we did look at our first quarter office referrals. What we typically see is that it's highest in 3rd grade and then it wanes off in 4th and 5th. Now, if you look at this chart, you will see that that is not the case in this first quarter. So as we've analyzed our data, we are focusing on our 5th grade data because they are the oldest students. They really should have their behavior under control and understand what's expected. So we've been analyzing that data to see what kind of referrals exist there and working along with our SEL team to target those behaviors so that hopefully, prayerfully, next quarter, those referrals will be down. Okay, let's kiss.
All right, so SEL, social emotional learning, so basically what that is we just want to make sure students are emotionally healthy. We know that really can't focus on the academics and other pieces if you're not emotionally healthy. So what we have is, we have the castle wheel here, and those are the areas of focus. So what happens is in the middle, there's a DESA system, and students are given the DESA, and then there's data that comes back from the DESA. So the teachers give that to the students, they rate them, and then we get data back. And each area of need for each student, those that you see along the wheel, it'll give it a percentage. So then, from that data, we form small groups to then target that area for each student. So whatever the need is, we give that student support in that area. And it's not just small groups, I'm sorry. It's also individual counseling, as you can see, individual therapy sessions. provide a list of services and support for parents if they want to go elsewhere. So that would address them in individual therapy, the small groups, crisis intervention, of course. In crisis, we manage that, we put a plan in place, make sure the child is safe. Go Guardian alerts, those are alerts that we get, a group of people in each building get those alerts. If a student goes on their computer and types in anything inappropriate or suicide or searching for putting in profanity, we get those alerts to keep students safe, and we call the parents, we document, we talk with the students. Sometimes they're nothing, but other times they're serious, and so sometimes we can develop plans from that. Parent community support, we have our SEL night coming up. There's gonna be more in the slides coming forward about family engagement. We had the Fall Fest, so we have a number of things in place to keep families engaged. Staff support, so when teachers have students in their classes where they've tried interventions, they can refer a child to us, the SEL team. So there's a form they go and they fill out, put all the information in. We contact the parent and we meet as a team to determine how to best support that child. And then we have the website for parents with all of our information and resources. The brain break activity is, it didn't come through, but there is a video that you can watch. We can get to you of Ms. Cromedy, who's our SEL interventionist. She's doing a lesson. There's a brain break activity along with the lesson that the students are doing, so you can check that out. Is that it? Oh, there it is.
All right, so this is what we call our Columbus Creed. This is what we do every day with our students. We believe in speaking positivity in our students. Daily affirmations. We want to speak positivity in our students, and we want our students to display positivity daily in their actions. So this is the Columbus Creed. This is what we say in our morning announcements every day. Our students know it by heart. They love it, and we refer to it when something happens in our building. But this is our Columbus Creed. So if you log in on our morning announcements, if you ever log in on our morning announcements, you will hear this. Student of the month. It is important for us to not highlight what some students are doing negative. We want to highlight the positive students, the students that every day are doing the right thing. So that's why we have the student of the month. The students that display the real expectations. They get to have lunch with me or Miss Everhart. We highlight them, we give them certificates, and we want to highlight them on our social medias as well. So we can't forget about them. So community and family engagement, vital for our existence. We want the community to understand that we need them as well, and we are a team. It's not teacher versus parent or any of that. We are all one because we all have a common goal, and that's to educate the students. So we had our Donuts for Dues about 2 weeks ago, and as you can see in those pictures, it was a success. We had over 70 dads or father figures there. Our family skate night is this Friday coming up, next Friday, October 27th. It is at United Skates of America, 5 to 7:30. If you want to get your skate on, come join us. We have our Halloween trunk or treat the same day, so we're gonna be really busy that day. The same day. It is in conjunction with the Bedford Heights Police Department and Fire and EMS. They will be in our gym giving candy away. We partnership with the Cleveland Metro Parks and the Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation.
All right, so as Mr. Huff said, community and family engagement is key to what we do at Columbus. Some of the things that we have coming up are Family Math Night. We have this year a science symposium, because I am a scientist at heart, I'm so excited. We actually applied for a grant that we will be bringing forward for your approval, not too long from now, where we would like to have, along with our hands-on activities, bring in a mobile planetarium for our students to enjoy so that they can experience the night sky in real time, so that'll be coming soon. We also have our family literacy night, our Black History Month dinner and a book, our SEL family engagement night, which will be in about a month, and then in the month of March, reading month, we will be participating in One School, One Book.
So we just said we need family engagement, but we need to know what they like and what they don't like. This is just a feedback survey from our family engagement night We wanna know what we're doing well, what can we tweak. So as you can see, the farthest bar, it might be too far, but the farthest bar was the family fun night that's coming up. We wanna know, we want that feedback from our families to better serve them. So, what's happening at Bedford, at Columbus Intermediate?
All right.
Our Stay in the Game initiative, on time, every day is the BCSD way. What you see in that picture is me, see my dean, Ms. Everhart, and our babies. We had a contest. We had an art contest, a on time, every day contest, and those are the winners. We had 50 or so students draw, and it was based off attendance, our attendance initiative. So that's what you see in there.
Okay, and as we mentioned before, we do partner with the Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation. And so through this program, they bring in a program for our third graders where they focus on real world science. And for this particular program, they're focusing on seed germination, how to gather them, how to prepare them for germination, how to plant them so that they can sprout, and so how they can be a part of changing the urban landscape. We also partner with the Cleveland Metro Parks. Again, science is my thing. For hands-on learning, and in this program, they focus on ecosystems and the symbiotic relationships that exist in them, and they also get to interact with live animals.
So we're gonna leave you with a little video.
This is the power of it. Don't you settle for less. If you just give your best, then you will have success. This is the power of it. Don't you settle for less. If you just give your best, then you will have success. YET, this is the power of yet. You may not get the problem, don't spend hours in stress. No, it's all about the process. Steady make progress, remain optimistic. I don't get it, well, not yet. Life is a journey, not a destination. Every teacher, every leader need this in education. Tempted to say can't have the courage to add yet. A growth mindset, the staff in the class met. You see, there's a difference between not knowing and not knowing yet. That three-letter word yet is very powerful if you think about it. I can't do this yet. Perseverance is paramount. This is the power of yet. Don't you settle for less. If you just give your best, then you will have success. This is the power of yet. Don't you settle for less. If you just give your best, then you will have success. I don't get it. I can't do this. It doesn't make sense. I'm starting to hate this. I believe in you, and you can make it. Just put the word yet at the end of your statement. YET, we can all shout. Using the word yet, we removing all doubt. We see the problem as a challenge and not a crisis. We create a growth mindset. You gotta like this. You see, this idea of a growth mindset can also be called the power of yet. In other words, you are not there yet, but just trust me, you can definitely get there. Let's go.
All right, we want to thank you guys for just taking a little bit of time to know about Columbus. Mr. Akins, he's the only one that's come to visit Columbus. I'm challenging the rest of you guys to come take a visit at Columbus Intermediate School. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. That was a lot of information about Columbus. I will come visit, but thank you for sharing. Any questions, board, any comments?
I have two. One, and I know you said you're gonna pull that data, but I'm most interested in what is the most written referral? Specifically.
Fighting and disrespect of staff and faculty.
And one is disrespect, what is that entail?
It can actually be folded in with like insubordination,
Yeah.
or speaking disrespectfully.
Yes.
And then, Ms. McCants talked about the grouping of the DESA
So those 8 areas on the wheel that you saw, if a student, let's say we have 15 students that score low, below a certain cutoff point in self-management, we'll have those students in groups,
Okay.
and that goes for every group.
So
around that
whatever
group.
the specific area, all of those children are in one specific group around
Yes,
that.
but sometimes we have so many that we have to run several groups of, say, self-management.
At any point, do they end up commingling with a group of another area? In
So,
which, where
yes.
there could be a pairing of stronger abilities or versus another, where they could kind of feed off of each other?
Within the group, there are different levels of ability. So the cutoff score for the DESA is 40. So you might have a student in that group with a 19, a 5, and a 39. So there are different abilities in each group. And sometimes one student might be a part of more than one group because they have
Gotcha.
a need in more than one area.
That's what I was wondering. Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Just wanted to commend you guys on that 5 out of 5. That's very remarkable. And I love to see that we're making progress and going in the right direction, so thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry, maybe you did say this, when you talked about those SEL groups,
Yes.
that's a period within the day or a week? How does that, when do those groupings happen?
Good question. So, variety of times. Most of the times are during their lunch or recess because we don't want to pull them out of instruction. So there are 3 lunch periods. So let's say we had a 3rd grade, that's a group. Relationship skills. We would pull them during that 11:15, 11:45 block and meet. And it would be once a week for 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah, and typically we'll do a survey at the beginning, survey at the end, just to look and see what growth they've had. But it doesn't happen overnight because we may have a student in 3rd grade, they might need that same group in 4th grade, and need that same group in 5th grade. Because some things are environmental. So we try to serve them each year based on where they score, because they take it each year. So if a student was in a group in 3rd grade, doesn't mean they can't be in that same group in 4th and 5th, if they need it. Did I answer your question? No? Usually during lunch and recess. Non-instructional periods.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Thank you.
and congratulations again.
Thank you.
I'm happy with 3.5.
All right.
Big. Thank you. Now we'll hear from Ms. Taylor.
Well, good evening, everyone. I am Karen Taylor, principal at Central Primary, where great things are happening every day. And now you want me to follow after Columbus and what they were doing, but we'll be just fine. I wanted to introduce you to our dean. That is Mr. Gaines. He couldn't be with us today. He was taking a class. So I did want to acknowledge Mr. Gaines. He's our new dean. We're both new to Central, and so I was hoping he would be here, but I know school comes first. Again, we all believe in our Bedford mission and vision. We too take pride in Bedford. We too believe that, kids come first. We don't do anything at Central unless it's what's best for kids. So we too follow the district's 1 plan goals, which we all know what those are. Central's 1 plan goals also aligns with the district's 1 plan goals. We have a goal of iReady to improve our performance at Central Primary by increasing our Tier 1 group to 30% in math, as measured by iReady, as well as our reading is the same, percentage, that we wanna move our kids in reading also by 30% by 2025. We also have a behavior, goal for as our using the DESA and DECA as well. And we wanna move those students that fall into tier 1 by 10%. I want to honor and recognize some of the teachers and some of our new staff. We had our Teacher of the Year, Ms. Schwartz. From last year, we had some marriages, we had some new additions to our Central family, with some new bambinos, myself being new, Mr. Gaines, and then we had some teachers, Ms. Beezer and our new site. So there's a host of new staff at Central. So I just wanted to take that time to acknowledge, our new staff, because we're all in this together. I'm sorry I didn't have Mr. Buff's. Sorry. I'm gonna move around like that. I wanted to point out Central's achievement. I wanted to point out Central Primary's achievements. We received a 2.5 overall rating, which I'm very, very, very proud of. We also received a 4 stars in closing the achievement gap. We received a woo-woo! I have to say that I have the dream team of teachers. They come in every day ready to work, and we do it as a team, and I'm so thankful for my staff at Central. I really am. I think I'm blessed. I had to say that I'm blessed. We received a 1 star in early literacy, but we are making strides to turn that 1 star into a 3 or 4 star. So I wanted to point that out, that we did receive a 1 star, but we are on our way going forward and moving forward and doing good things at Central. I'll get into that. Looking at our reading data, our iReady data, we focused as a staff knowing that you see the green areas, you see the yellow areas, you see the red areas. I also want to point out to you that in iReady, when you see green and yellow, that means that students are ready to learn grade level material. We have some students that are in red. Those are our tier 3 students that do need extra help. But when you see kids that's in green and red, they're ready to learn grade level material. So we have an area of focus at Central in reading that we're going to focus on phonics and phonological awareness. So that's our focus to improve our reading at Central. Our iReady data shows that in math, that we as a building have decided to focus on numbers and operation as well as measurement. Those are 2 of the weaker areas that we as a building decided that those are the areas that we're going to focus on to move our students. And again, I just want to point out, there's a lot of our kids that are 1 grade level behind, but that does not mean they cannot learn grade level material. Does not mean that. I show this to show this is where we received our 1 star from the state, and that was from our students that are on REMS. And our students on REMS, we had 69 students on REMS, and 11 students moved from off a REMP. They moved off a REMP, so that's where our 15.9% came from. Our goal this year is to move that even higher. So we're focusing on those students that had the reps. Of those 69, we're trying to move all of them out of rep. So to move, we are still using as part of our curriculum foundations. Haggerty, those are big phonics pieces that we use every day, teachers use every day. We also use Wonders, and we have a new math series and vision that our teachers are working on with as part of the new curriculum. We also have a supplemental resource that kind of aligns with foundations, and it's called Secret Stories, and it's more of a comprehension base to foundations that's going to help us more with our phonics piece to raise those scores in our rating. We also have taken on and adopted and implementing Mr. Hattie's vision, his visible learning. The district is using that, so as we decided as a building, we looked over John Hattie and the strategies that he has and looked at the effect sizes, and as a building, we chose 5 of those areas that we are going to focus on throughout the year. Right now, we're focusing on scaffolding. So for the next 6 weeks, twice a week, the teacher's gonna implement that into their instruction. And then we'll come back and we'll look at it and we'll see what works, what didn't work, and move on. We also use MTSS for those students that are in Tier 1, are struggling and moving to Tier 2. We offer those supports to those students that are moving, that need support in Tier 2, and also if they need more support in Tier 3. Another one of our focuses at Central is to improve our attendance. We are part of the Browns initiative as far as stay in the game, and our kids are coming to school every day, and we're trying to give them awards and rewards for that. We are doing class competitions for coming to school, and I know a lot of coming to school and coming on time, our little people can't control that. So we make sure that as long as they get there, we're happy to see them. And so those were our September winners for attendance. We also at Central want to build a positive culture, and we do that through using our PBIS. And at Central, we practice our kindness, we practice our respect, we practice our hard work every day. This flow chart is just to show you how kids get to the office and things that teachers do prior to. Office should be last resort. So we give teachers things, our SEL team and myself, we came and we created this flow chart of what teachers can do prior to sending to the office. Because I know we don't want to make the office the bad place. So there's things that kids and things that teachers can do prior to having to write that referral to get to the office. And really, to be honest, it's just teachers make that connection and building that relationship with kids. Our PBIS, we've just had a dance in September, so we try to do something every month for the kids. So coming up, we are having a Fall Fest. We just had our muffins for lunch this morning, which was a big turnout. We had over close to 90 moms that came out this month. If you look on our dojo, you'll see all those pictures. But we're doing, those are a list of the things. We're doing our fall crafts in November. We're doing December. We're doing the movie and the snack. We also have a Roar store that teachers and kids, they earn catch them doing right, and we pay them for that. And they can use that money at the store. So usually myself and Mr. Gaines will go around with a cart, we'll go to each classroom, they can see what they wanna purchase if they have enough money. If they don't, they can do what we used to do old school, put it on layaway. When you earn enough money, if that's what you really want, you earn enough money, you save your money, and then you buy what you want. We are trying and piloting something new this year. It is a program called STAY, and this program is self-regulation with animals for youth. And Ono is our lab who comes to the building. Today was his first day in the building, and the kids loved him. I'm allergic to Ono, so I couldn't really stay with him. But the kids love him. It's a therapy dog. And Uno comes to the building once a week, 45 minutes a day, and he works with kids just to help with self-regulation and coping skills. And the kids really, really love him. So if you want to come see Uno, come in the mornings at 9:30 on Thursdays, and he'll be there. We started our PTA back up and running. We want to get our community involved. We want more family engagement. I'm happy to announce our new board members for our PTA. Mr. Brett Johnson, who was a former teacher, is now our president. Nicole Clark Jefferson, Amanda Bowers, Ms. Eloise Griggs is our treasurer. As of today, we have 87 members on our PTA, and that's just starting from September. We have 87 members. Over 34 of those members are actual teachers, and the other members, and we probably have more than that after our Muffins with Moms this morning, because we were just recruiting them. You eat them up and you sign up. More of our family engagement is we partner with the Cleveland Food Bank, and as of right now, we have served and are serving weekly. 33 students are receiving Friday bags that they take home with them, so they'll have something for the weekend. So those 33 students every Friday receive a food bag. And if there's more teachers want to send more, they can, or even if families or parents may want to add to that, we can. But as of right now, every week, we are serving 33 students food bags to go home on Fridays, which I think is good. We also partner with Mr. Al Grimes in the Education Equity Group, and it's a group that provides critical family engagement solutions. It's a 9-week remote program that increases family engagement, and they do it remotely, and there's also incentives for the families that come. It's 30 minutes that they work with the parents and 30 minutes that they work with the kids. So together we can build a strong community at Central, and that is our goal every day. We all have one vision and one goal, and that's to see children succeed, and those are my children. I love them all. And Central is a fantastic place to learn. And thank you very much. I don't have a song. I want to say thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Great report, presentation. Thank you. Board, do we have any questions or comments?
Yes, I do. I think it's excellent that children are receiving food from the food bank. That's amazing to help bridge the gap in some homes. However, how are our children obtaining these bags and taking them home? Are they getting them them to take on the bus with them, or is a parent coming and picking them up?
Both is happening. Our social worker, Ms. Miller, goes to the high school, gets the bags, and she brings them back. For those parents that don't drive, they are put on the bus with their bags, but those majority of parents are picking them up on Fridays.
I just wonder, and that kind of stuck out with me because when we talk about children who are marginalized and everybody doesn't know everybody's circumstance and situation,
Right. But
are they being
It's
singled out
discreet.
in a way?
no, it's discreet, so
Okay.
they won't, there's not a bag that's saying, I'm taking this food home, or, anything like that. It's a discreet bag, it's put in, something so kids won't know that, there's actual food being taken home, because we don't want to do that to kids.
Okay.
So we make sure that it's discreet.
Mhm. Thank you.
I wanted to mention about that as well. Is that you may not know, but is that program offered to the other schools as well, through the food bank?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Because I know our social worker does it with Glendale as well. She does it in our building, and she does it at Glendale.
Okay.
So I wasn't sure.
Thank you so much.
So, 3.04.
Oh, sorry. 3.03. You're up, Mr. Burns.
Board President, Mrs. Boynton, Superintendent Dr. Johnson, Board of Education members. As always, on behalf of the Office of Academic Achievement, thank you for this opportunity to share some information and highlights with you this evening. What we were trying to do tonight is just share aspects of being a data-informed district while also explaining how buildings are identified with designations. I talked a little bit about it the last time I presented, but I wanted to go a little more in depth. Share the notification process to districts as it relates to designations, and then outline the changes in school identification categories. Provide insight on the improvement process, and then highlight the successes, you heard some of them this evening, of our buildings, and then identify next steps to promote and also sustain improvement. So the one thing when we talk about the district and being data informed and our report card components, we talk about the data coming in and it being available to us. So what we say to our teachers and our administrators, here it is, this is what we have. What do we learn from that data? So, and then what do we do with it? So what are our next steps? So those are the things that we're trying to understand as the data comes in, and then how we move forward in trying to be a progressive district. When we talk about the ESSA school identification in Ohio, and why schools are identified, one, it's federal law, also through Ohio's consolidated state ESSA plan, and then also just that pathway to improvement. As we are what I consider a moderately supported district with federal funds, that is also a reason or rationale why we go from certain things as designations based on our students' performance on state assessments. What we found out maybe last month, there was notification to the superintendent's office and school leadership if there was a designation for a respective building. Last month I talked about previously buildings being identified as priority, warning, and or focus. We did have buildings that were in focus status or focus designation previously. There were changes in the identification. I referenced the CSI, or Comprehensive Support Improvement. That was priority. And then warning buildings, I didn't talk too much about this because we didn't have any schools designated as warning, but that's additional targeted support and improvement. And then, as I said, our buildings that had designations were focus schools, and that changed to targeted support and improvement, or TSI. So when you talk about CSI or previously priority schools, that identification process was for them being identified as lowest performing in the state, the lowest performing 5% in the state, graduation rate equal to or less than 67%, and then ATSI schools for more than 3 years. So if a building was a warning building for 3 years, 3 consecutive years, they would then move into what was previously priority status, but now CSI status. When you talk about ATSI schools and their entrance criteria, it's really based on the performance of subgroups. So that's one area that we've continued to work with our principals on and our teacher leaders. How are our subgroups performing on their respective assessments? And then what do we need to do to support their growth and development, and then close achievement and also opportunity gaps for them. Targeted support improvement, again, looking at subgroup performance, identified annually. Again, that would have been our focus buildings. And then also having one or more student subgroups performing in the lowest 2% of schools for a particular subgroup. What does all of that mean? We talk about our implementation workbook and the alignment to Ed Steps or our school improvement plans. So buildings, as they are notified of a designation, there are improvement requirements that have to take place. And then there's also what the state considers access to support. That comes directly from ODE or also the state support team in your region. And then again, going into that improvement process or planning by the schools and also the district. So if identified, schools must revise their one plan. I talked last month and previously about Bedford City Schools being one of the first districts to actually have to implement Ed Steps. My previous district being a pilot district, we did not have to go through all the things that Bedford did. I would say it was a gift and a curse because you get a jump on everything else, but then also it's almost like you're in the air flying the plane and somebody's also still making it. So as we're going through these things and starting our one plan and implementing our building plans, there were things that were changing behind the scenes with the platform. So that always becomes a little difficult. So of course what that allows us to do is be reflective in the upcoming year and say, let's go back and look at some of our goals. Are they truly what we need? Are they really gonna move the needle when we're trying to have district goals? And then what do we need to look at with our action steps that we had in place? Are they sustainable, or do we need to revise those as well? And then also, as we always talk about, how are we leveraging our federal funds to provide opportunities for our students, professional development for our teachers and our administrators, and then also allowing students to be exposed to rigorous curriculum throughout the school year. Just talking about some of the things that ODE would like to see when individuals are revising their plan and allocating their funds. The push is really around literacy. That's one thing that I think Mrs. Martin continues to do an excellent job in trying to be in the forefront with our teaching staff, being proactive, getting things out in front of them, and then working to figure out how we can support them with all of these different changes when a lot of things are just explained and still, again, being designed as well. To get to the accommodations, I don't know which board member, but somebody used that actual word. As we talk about our buildings, Central was able to outline that overall they had a 2.5 rating, and that's out of the state, 12% of schools. So I think that's a great thing because that shows that they're moving in the right direction. The buildings that had a 3.5 overall star rating, that was the high school, Columbus, and Heston. So I wanted to make sure I acknowledged and shared that because these buildings were identified as focus buildings previously. Through all of that, I happened to be in Columbus earlier today. I was able to talk to Brian Hoynacke. A lot of this work comes out of his office. Buildings came off of that designation list. So that is something to celebrate. We can give a round of applause. The one thing that I shared with Dr. Johnson, though, when I found that news out, I said, that's a good thing because we want to move the needle. We want to come off the designation list. But what that does mean is we won't receive as much federal funding now. So that's why it's so important when we're putting plans together, we're doing things that are sustainable because we want to see improvement. I had a colleague from another district, and I'll quote them, but they said sometimes failure equals funding. So when you think about failure equaling funding, we don't want to fail, so we have to make sure we're doing what we need to do, but then also, are we putting things in place that are not going to be able to just disappear or dissipate? So we want to make sure we're able to sustain those things as well. So I wanted to share that. Some other things, the high school also had a 4-star rating in the progress report card component. Columbus shared that they had a 5-star rating in the progress report card component as well. So meaning their grade 5 students demonstrated significant evidence that the school exceeded student growth in all tested subjects. Central received a 4-star rating in the gap closing report card component. Heskett Middle School received a 4-star rating in that progress report card component as well. I also wanted to acknowledge Carrollwood and Glendale. Carrollwood having a 2.5 star overall, and then Glendale having a 3-star overall rating and a 4-star rating in the gap closing component. The reason why I wanted to identify them is because they're doing great work. But sometimes we won't focus on them because they didn't have a designation. So I wanted to make sure we understood all of our buildings were doing good, even those that weren't in a designation status, but then those that were as well. So when we get back to those earlier questions and what. So what we're really trying to do now is to continue this work and move forward across all subjects and grades. Some key questions. So, and we've talked about these before, but what percentage of our students are proficient or higher? And then what percentage of students are struggling? And how do we move students from that limited area and basic area to proficient and accomplished? And the good thing about that conversation, it emerged at our district leadership team meeting earlier this month. And as the high school team looked at their building goals, they realized we need to revise some things, but we also need to understand what kids are falling in that limited and basic, what do we need to do for them, and then how do we make sure they don't fall back into that. So those conversations are what we want to have happening throughout our district, because then when you're planning, you have that intentionality. And then also, are students not being tested? So are we missing students because of absence or other factors? And if so, what do we need to do to ensure we can motivate them to get here and then support them through that process too? So what is next? Looking at our grades, subject acceleration, what do we do as a district to make sure that we're moving the needle and we're challenging our staff and our students? Are there other areas that we need to consider? The executive leadership team met with building leadership to talk about, at the secondary level, graduation rates, dropouts. What do we need to do differently to make sure we're coding things appropriately if students leave our district or if students come into us? Again, those untested students, what are we doing to make sure that is not a barrier that impacts our report card and the growth of our district? And then how do we examine other data? When we talk about attendance, Dr. Tariq's office department doing what she can to make sure that we're supporting parents and students in that regard as well. Again, what is next? Spending time on the following. So, examining our proficiency trends and what's happening at grade levels and then also in subjects areas or content areas. So what are we doing to ensure that we see our proficiency trends going up? And if they're not moving in the right direction, what are we putting in place to make sure we address that sooner rather than later? I believe Mrs. Turner-Birch and I had a conversation in one of my presentations where we talked about if it is going the wrong way, how do we make sure we're intervening early? Not waiting to middle school, but really going back down to that elementary level, making sure that there's some foundational skills there, making sure we're building on that, and then making sure that supports are consistently happening across buildings. Not saying if something is happening at one building and it's not happening at here, celebrating this and just leaving this building on their own. It needs to be, if it's working over here, we're one district, so we need to make sure we're bringing it over. There's some collegial conversations happening, some vertical alignment, and everybody understands that Bedford City Schools is one district. No one building should be compared to another. We should make sure that our students understand we're all in this, somebody used the word family. So that piece. Ohio Materials Matter Review. So making sure whatever we're bringing into our district is something that is evidence-based, supported by the state, and is really going to move the needle again. Ohio's plan to raise literacy. Again, the big focus right now is the science of reading, focusing on the dyslexia law, making sure we understand how our students are performing, what it looks like for phonics, phonemic awareness at those earlier grades, so we can look at our third grade reading guarantee, moving students off of REMS and into the ability to read on grade level, so that continues. Being in Columbus today, I got a little excited, and I called the superintendent. She was like, Columbus, what do you mean you're in Columbus? But she thought I was coming from the school. But coming from Columbus today, I had the opportunity to be in a session around literacy, and the thing that I really enjoyed about the presenter, as we're talking about phonemic awareness and phonics at the earlier levels, I brought up what happens when we allow those students to continue to progress through middle and high school. And I talked about interventions and also enrichment, but I wanted to focus on interventions and what that looks like. And I called Dr. Johnson and I said, I think I got it. I want to try this. I want to make sure we're not just focusing on a program, because human capital is also what's needed to really help kids learn how to read. And we also understand that if students are already at that secondary level, they are feeling a certain way and they don't want people to know that they're struggling. So how do you create that intervention space and get them to understand this is for your betterment? It's not to make you feel inferior, but it's really to understand we want you to leave the halls of our buildings understanding this is how you should be in today's society to move along. Attendance works, again, Dr. Three looking at attendance, what that looks like, and then also the Ohio Statewide Family Engagement Center, because we can't do this on our own. It's not just about us in the schools, but also the families in our communities. How do we bring them in? How do we make sure that they're partnering with us? How do we put them in positions to support at home? And how do we continue to leverage their expertise as well? So, I wanted to really just briefly talk about some of the new things that we continue to learn, but then also highlight the successes of our buildings, because I feel like we truly are moving in the right direction. That does mean that we're pushing people. That means that we're holding people accountable, myself included. I try and explain to teachers. We had a meeting last night with a committee, and I say, for our office, it's all about support. Because when you talk about achievement, that means we need people to achieve. So if we're not achieving, that means we're not doing our job. So I have to hold myself accountable and those within my department to say, how are we supporting those people in the building? How are we supporting our parents, grandparents, whoever may be supporting our kids? And how do we put everybody in the position to understand what we need to be doing? So I just wanted to share that. If there's any questions, I'm here.
Thank you, Mr. Harrington. I don't have any questions, but I do want to say, and this is from the 4 years that I have been on the Board of Education, seen or heard so much detail on the growth of our children since I've been on this board until you came here. So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate all your hard work. I appreciate you making sure that our teaching staff, our principals understand data. That's the biggest thing. We can't move children if we can't read data. You have brought that to Bedford. It may have been here. We didn't hear about it. So I thank you for that. I thank you for your being intentional with your PDs, your meetings, your progress monitoring, the impact that you're having on our children through the principals and through the teachers and everyone else that's involved in growing our children. You're very transparent. You can tell that you really care about our children. You care about our district. You're always, because education is forever changing. Every day is something new. Every month is something new. And you're on top of it. And I just want to say that. Dr. Johnson, you brought some good people in. I really do appreciate your leadership has been just great. And the people that we have on board now to move our children, I just want to applaud you and your staff and you, Dr. Johnson, for everything that's happening. To see this growth, to see these numbers, it's just wonderful. I actually had the experience of sharing it with some families at one of my various outings in the community. And people didn't know. And for you coming every month to share with us, I hope they are listening. But we can go out as board members now and share all this good news, because all we hear is what makes it in the media. This needs to be in the media. These are great things that are happening at Bedford. And again, thank you so much.
I have to concur, and for sure. I heard we were getting the best. And truly, that's what you have stepped in and have done. So definitely do value everything what Ms. Boynton has indicated. And I also thank you for even mentioning the continuity. And so much more of an important as to why a space of bringing everybody together in one space will make it even so much more relevant and impactful to our district, because all of those resources and time and whatnot will be in one space to co-collaborate, and the ability to have even more progress. So I just wanted to take a moment to mention that, because we're improving when we're in silos, but that's not where we all work the best. We work collaboratively together, and so just wanted to bring that to the focus, and I appreciate that.
That's very detailed.
Look at us. All right, thank you for everyone for bringing those great presentations to the Board of Education and to our community. People need to know. We got to get the word out. And I know there are concerns about not knowing what's going on in Bedford. We are working on that, and I just want you to know I'll be talking about this a lot. So thank you. Next on the agenda is item number 3.04, and we'll have a presentation from our coordinator of preschool. Ms. Black, I'm sorry.
Okay. Good evening, President Boynton, members of the board. I come before you today with a proposal for a community partnership. I love listening to everyone because it helped me to remember why my work is so important. So not only do I need to service the students that are at Bedford City Schools right now enrolled in our preschool program, but it's also my job to collaborate with the community and find out how am I going to help our students outside of the community. How do I help the students who maybe they're not enrolled in our preschool right now? And so this next proposal that I'm going to talk to you about is exactly one way that I can do that with a community partnership. I want to point out two ladies in the audience. Monica Golden, who is a community member, a parent, and just a child advocate. And also Miss Asia. So these two ladies I'm going to be presenting about their organization today. So the name of the organization is Spark Ohio. The purpose of Spark Ohio is to get children prepared for kindergarten. And you know, in our preschool program, that is what we're focused on. However, this will be a great supplement to our preschool program. They provide resources such as arts and crafts activities, free books for them. They also do monthly home visits. This is nothing new. They have been around for quite some time in some of our neighboring communities. They work with schools like Garfield, Solon, Cleveland Heights, that's just the name of who, and even Lawrenceville. So Spark, their main purpose, like I said, is to get children ready for kindergarten. Many of you know that when children enter into kindergarten, they have to take what's called the KRA. That's a state required assessment. And the 15-year research that they've done, they follow the same cohort. Children who attend at least 18 sessions, the home session of the Spark, they do perform better. They outperform better than students who do not. We need to get not only what we do in school, we need to also be able to support our parents at home. We need to be able to show them what to do with the resources that we have at home. We need them, and this program can help us close those learning gaps that we were just speaking about. And it also helps the parents to be able to advocate for themselves too. Those parents are participants. You know, we talk about Al Grimes. He taught me we need to move parents from transactional to transformative. That's his main goal. This helps parents to be more transformative because it gives them a voice. Some parents are intimidated when they're talking to teachers in school. Spark helps them to find their voice and do that. So I would love the opportunity to bring this to our community. They would advertise through our school, and the best part of all, it's free. No cost to our families at all. So a free community resource. And I have provided a folder for you. I just wanted to pull out some things from this folder. The last page, that package you see, that's the study that they did at Kent State. I would love for you to be able to read some of the details on that. They also have some graphs in here. I love this sheet because if you just want the quick version of everything that I just said, you can look at this. But they have some graphs in here comparing how students do who participate in Spark and who do not participate in Spark. Okay, so that is my presentation. Please consider that information that I gave you. And I'm open to any questions. Also, Asia and Monica are open to any questions too.
Did you talk about your funding structure? Of this day?
Oh, that's
So
a
the
great
services are
question.
free to the-
I'm gonna ask the team because they explained that to me, because Spark used to be at cost, but now they are receiving funding. And if you would like to, can I please invite them up to talk about where they're receiving the funding from? Yes. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Monica Golden, and this is Asia Williamson. She's the parent partner for our communities. So to answer your question in reference to the funding, it is now free. We are funded by Invest in Children, as well as we just received fundings of county and state funding. So some years ago, when we initially started, 10 years ago, we were going to particular districts asking for funding. And so there were some stakeholders who decided that they wanted to buy in. So we've been around for approximately 15 years, and now due to that funding, it doesn't cost any of the districts anything. We're trying to reach over 360 families throughout Cuyahoga County, so we're on a mission. And so I'm very passionate because this is my district, and my children go here, and I wanted you all to be a part of this process a long time ago. So I'm back, and I'm asking, and I want to answer any questions that you want to.
One final thing I did forget to mention, they are aligned with our Step Up to Quality. As you know, Glendale is a continuous 5 stars, and we have applied for Central to get those stars as well. Everything they do, including the family transition plan and the readiness and getting children prepared for those screeners, that's also aligned to our Step Up to Quality rating.
I had a question. Your materials, do they also offer materials for our non-English speaking students?
We work with an organization called Asia, which
Okay.
kind of helps translate. We have Spanish, a lot of Spanish-speaking families. We found out that we have a pocket of refugees that we need to support, so we're reaching out for those translation services.
Okay.
Great question.
I have a question just about the age group. So what age do you really target? You know, we say pre-K, so it's just 3 and 4.
5 that are not yet in kindergarten.
Okay.
That's it. Kindergarten.
I like
Fire
that.
does say if you're turning 3 to 4 by the end of September.
Okay. Any questions for me? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sounds great. Next on the agenda is item number 4.01. It's our consent agenda. Could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion to read the consent agenda. To approve the agenda. moved by Mrs. Macklin and second by Mr. Akins. Do we have any questions or discussion about the consent agenda? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mrs. Macklin,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
Yes.
Mrs. Boynton,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner Birch, Mr. Lipford,
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Board. Okay. 5.02 is our service contract. And could I have a motion to, Executive Director of Academic Achievement. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve, what's the addendum to the LOA therapy contract as presented.
Second. It's been moved by Mr. Lipper, second by Mrs. Macklin. You have any questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Lipford,
Yes.
Mrs. Macklin,
Yes.
Mrs. Boynton,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner Birch,
Yes. Motion passes 5-0. Did I do 5.01? I'm sorry.
We did 5.01.
It's 5.02. I'm sorry. I think I did the director. I did say the director. I'm sorry, but I did do the, sorry about that. Could I have a motion to approve the service contract for the Executive Director of Academic Achievement? And there's an addendum. Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved by Mrs. Macklin, second by, is that you, Mr. Lipper?
Yes.
By Mr. Lipper. Any questions on the board? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mrs. Macklin,
Yes.
Mr. Lipford,
Yes.
Mrs. Boynton,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner Birch,
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Board. Item number 6 is Board of Education, old business and business. We have any?
Ms. Boynton, the Spark organization might want to know what the next steps are. So I just wanted, if it's okay to just say, should you guys be okay with this programming, a service contract would be on the next board agenda for you to review and approve.
Thank you.
I'll give us, my usual weekly sports update. Our boys soccer team is actually going to the next playoffs.
Good.
So they've advanced again. They just won a game yesterday, I believe, 5-0. So they're moving to the next round, as well as our boys varsity football team playing tonight. They're also going to be advancing to the playoffs as well. So they're playing now against Warrensville.
Thank you.
I just want to say the foundation having their Holly Ball, December 1st. Tickets are $60. That's your beverage and your meal. It's going to be really nice. I have tickets if you want it. Plus, they have a raffle. I've been giving you guys the wrong price. I don't know, I must have been looking at it cockeyed, because I said $20 for one ticket and $100 for 6. It's $5 for one ticket and $6 tickets for $20. So sometimes I can't see right, so you guys have to forgive me. Age get a hold to you, but I have tickets if you would like to purchase any of those, and I hope to see you guys at Holly. That's going to be at the Sherwood Party Center. Sherwood Party Center in Valley View, I think it is. So, I mean, come on out and do what you gotta do.
I just want to say, since our next board meeting is November 9th, I just want to remind everybody to educate themselves on the issues and candidates on your ballot election will take place November 7th. So you can vote from now until then, but be sure you vote at least by November 7th. Board of Elections also open on Sundays.
All right, next on the agenda is thank you board, it's 7.01. And I need a motion to enter into executive session.
Motion to move into executive session, discuss the purchase, acquisition, lease, transfer, or sale of any real, personal, or other property interest, and to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Akins and second by, Mr. Akins, and second by Mr. Woodford.
Mr. Akins?
Yes.
Mr. Lippert?
Yes.
Mrs. Boynton?
Yes.
Mrs. Turner Birch? Mrs. Macklin?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, board. And thank you, everyone, for coming out. We will be going into executive session in a few minutes, and we will not be voting as we come out. So we look forward to seeing you in November.